Good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome all members to today's Student Innovation Unit Task Force meeting. Let me introduce our speakers. So for speaker 1 is Yanxia, speaker 2 Ziyi, and speaker 3 Jiaen. Thank you for being present and prepared for today's discussions. As you know, our group was assigned to evaluate the pitching presentation delivered by Group 5. The topic that addressed was the growing issue of employee health problem caused by the long working hours and unhealthy workplace practice. So, the purpose of the meetings is to critically evaluate the solution proposed by the pitching team and determine which solution or combination of solutions would best address the challenge. So, allow me to briefly outline today's agenda. First, we will review the challenge presented by the pitching team. Second, we will evaluate each proposed solution using several criteria, including effectiveness, feasibility, sustainability, and potential impact. Third, we will compare in proposal and discuss which solution offer the best value. Finally, we will attempt to reach a consensus and decide on our final recommendations. Does everyone agree with the agenda for today?
Yes, agree.
All right, thank you. So let us proceed. So to begin with, I would like to briefly summarize the challenge. So the pitching team highlight that long working hour has become increasingly common in modern workplaces. Employees often spend prolonged period sittings, working under pressure, and experience high level of stress. So according to the presenters, this condition may contribute to several health problems, including burnout, cardiovascular disease, obesity, depressions, chronic fatigue, and reduced productivity. So the pitching team proposed 5 different solutions. So for the proposal 1 is structured workplace wellness program. The next is flexible working hours. The proposal 3 is adequate staffing and workload redistributions. For the 4 is ergonomic workplace improvement and wellness area. And at last is Move Plus workplace systems. So I suggest that we evaluate one by one individually before comparing them collectively. Would anyone like to add anything before we begin?
I think it's important that we remember that our objective is not only to identify the most attractive solution, but also the most realistic one. Some proposals may sound excellent in theory, but may be difficult to implement in practice.
Yes, I agree as well. As in my opinion, I think we should carefully consider both effectiveness and feasibility, as a highly effective solution is not useful if the organization are unable to implement it. Yeah.
I agree with both of you. In addition to effectiveness and feasibility, I think we should also consider long-term sustainability, as some solutions may generate immediate results but fail to produce lasting behavioral change.
It's a very excellent point. With those considerations in mind, so maybe let us begin to evaluating our proposal 1. So for the proposal 1, as I mentioned, is workplace wellness program. So Yanxia, would you like to begin with the discussions?
Sure. After reviewing Proposal 1, which is the Structured Workplace Wellness Program, I believe that it is one of the most comprehensive solutions presented by the pitching team. The proposal includes scheduled movement breaks, mental health counseling, stress management workshops, healthy food initiatives, and flexible working arrangements. What I find particularly compelling is that the proposal adopts a preventive approach rather than a reactive one. Instead of waiting until the employees become ill, the program seeks to prevent health problems from developing in the first place. From my perspective, this is a significant strength because prevention is often more effective and less costly than treatment.
Yeah, I agree with that observation, as I think the key point is the focus on organizational culture. So this proposal is important because it shifts responsibility from employees to the organizations. And nowadays, many workplace health programs fails because they place the entire burdens on the employees. Like for example, employees may be encouraged to exercise more or manage stress better, but the workplace environment remain unchanged. So this proposal attempt to address the issue by embedding wellness directly into daily work routines, which may be more effective.
I'd like to build on that point. What makes this proposal particularly valuable is that it recognizes the interconnected nature of the employee health. Physical health and mental health are often treated as a separate issues, but in reality, they actually influence one another. An employee experiencing chronic stress may also develop the sleep disturbances, reduce physical activity, and maybe poor dietary habits. So, by addressing multiple dimensions simultaneously, the program potentially offers a more holistic solution.
Wow, those are excellent observations. However, every proposal has limitations. Do any of you identify any potential weakness?
Yes, I have identified one. Although the proposal is comprehensive, but I think the major concern is employee participations. So the argument assumes that employees will actively engage in these wellness programs, but however, this may not always be true as some employees may see this wellness activity as an extra work rather than helpful opportunities. So others may just simply prioritize completing work tasks over attending this workshop or counseling session. So the participation rate could become a significant challenge in this case.
I agree with Jay's point about the employee participation. However, I think the issue goes beyond participation alone, as the effectiveness of this proposal also depends heavily on the organizational commitment. Even if the employees are willing to participate, the program may not achieve its intended outcomes unless the management actively supports it. For example, introducing wellness breaks while at the same time rewarding employees who regularly work overtime. This could create conflicting expectations. As a result, the employees may feel pressured to prioritize productivity over their well being. Therefore, although this proposal has many strengths, I think its successfulness ultimately depends on how committed the organization is to promoting a culture of wellness.
Yes, I agree with what Yanxia and Zi said just now. And I think another important consideration is actually cost. While some initiatives such as movement breaks are relatively inexpensive, counseling services and wellness programs require resources. Smaller organizations may struggle to allocate the sufficient funding. Therefore, the proposal may be easier to implement in large corporations than in small business.
Yeah, I think what Jan said is a very important point. But however, I would argue that the long-term benefits may outweigh the initial costs as healthier employees tend to take fewer sick days and experience less burnout. So therefore, the investment could definitely bring significant returns over time.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I believe this proposal offers one of the strongest long-term impacts among all five solutions.
All right, thank you for your all opinions on that. So based on our discussions, would it be fair to conclude that proposal one is highly comprehensive and potentially impactful, although its effectiveness depends on participation, management support, and available resources?
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
agree.
All right, thank you. So now let us move on to the proposal two, which is flexible working hours. So maybe some of you can begin with maybe Z first.
All right, certainly. So personally, I think proposal 2 is highly appealing because of its practicality. So compared to some of the other proposal, these solutions can often be implemented with relatively little financial investment. And the core idea is simple, where employees are given greater control over their working schedule while still being accountable for completing their personal responsibilities. So this flexibility may reduce stress, improve work-life balance, and increase their job satisfactions.
I agree with Jay that this proposal offers greater flexibility and could help improve work-life balance. However, one limitation is that it mainly addresses stress rather than overall employee health. Employees may have more control over their schedules, but they could still spend long periods sitting and working in front of a computer. Therefore, while the proposal is practical and cost effective, it may not fully address the broader health concerns highlighted by the pitching team.
Yeah, I share a similar concern. The most serious limitation is that flexibility does not automatically lead to the healthier behavior. The proposal assumes that employees will use their additional flexibility wisely. However, some employees may simply redistribute their work hours rather than reduce stress or improve their health.
Yeah, I think that is true. But however, I think we should acknowledge that stress itself is a significant contributor to health problems. So if employees can better manage their personal responsibility and schedule work around their personal needs, then I think their mental well-being may be improved considerable.
Okay, very interesting point among your guys' discussions. Would you say that proposal two is particularly effective for improving work-life balance?
Yes, absolutely. As in my view, that is the greatest strength of this proposal. It empowers employees and gives them a sense of control over their working lives. While many studies have shown that autonomy contribute positively to job certifications and motivation as well.
Yeah, I agree with that. However, I think another weakness is that the proposal may not be suitable for all industries. Healthcare workers, retail employees, customer service personnel, and manufacturing workers often require fixed schedules. Therefore, the solution may not be universally applicable.
Yeah, that's a very valid criticism. I think proposal 2 may work well in some organizations, but it could be more challenging to implement in certain industries compared to proposal 1.
Thank you, Yanxia. So, based on our discussions, would it be fair to conclude that proposal two is highly feasible, cost-effective, and beneficial for work-life balance, but may not fully address physical health concerns and may not be suitable for every workplace?
Yeah, agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Right, thank you. Okay, so now let's move on to proposal three, which is focused on ensuring adequate staffing level and improving workload distributions. So maybe let's begin with Jan.
Certainly, among all the five proposals, I believe Proposal 3 addresses the root cause of the problem more directly than the others. The presenters argued that many employees suffer from stress, burnout, and health problems because they are expected to handle the excessive workloads. If the workload exceeds the workforce capacity, employees naturally work longer hours. Therefore, hiring additional staff seems like a logical solution. The most compelling aspect of this proposal is that it targets the source of the problem rather than merely addressing the symptoms.
Yes, I agree with that observations. So in many organizations, employees are not necessarily inefficient or unmotivated. Rather, they are simply overwhelmed by unrealistic expectation and also insufficient manpower in the company. So by increasing staffing levels, organizations could distribute responsibilities more evenly and reduce the pressure on the exceeding employees. So this could potentially improve both employees' well-being and work quality as well.
Well, I acknowledge those strengths, but I think we need to carefully examine the feasibility of this proposal. One major drawback of this proposal is the cost, as recruiting additional employees requires significant investment. Companies must consider salaries, benefits, training costs, and also other long-term commitments. For large corporations, this may be manageable, but for small and medium-sized enterprises, this solution may be financially challenging.
Yeah, that's a fair concern. However, I would argue that understaffing also creates the hidden costs. For example, employee burnout can lead to absenteeism, reduced productivity, higher turnover rates, and increase the healthcare expenses. These consequences may ultimately cost organizations more than hiring additional staff.
Yes, I think both of you raised valid points. Perhaps the effectiveness of this proposal depends heavily on the organization's financial position. So companies with sufficient resources may benefit greatly from workforce expansions, whereas smaller organizations may struggle to implement it.
That's very interesting perspective from all of you. So would it be fair to say that proposal 3 is potentially highly effective, but may face significant financial and operational barriers? Yanxia?
Yes, in my opinion, the proposal is strongly conceptually, but weaker in terms of practicality.
Yeah, I will agree with that assessment.
Excellent. So let us proceed to proposal 4. So as I mentioned earlier, proposal 4 is mainly focusing on improving the physical work environment through ergonomic furniture and dedicated wellness spaces. So Ji, would you like to begin with this?
Yeah, sure. So personally, I find this proposal very appealing because it addresses a problem that is often overlooked, which is that many employees spend 8 to 10 hours each day sitting in poorly designed workspace. So over time, this can result in back pains, neck strains, poor postures, and as well chronic discomfort. So this proposal recommends ergonomic chairs, adjustable desks, proper screen positioning, and also designated wellness areas where employees can rest and recharge. So this improvement could significantly enhance workplace comfort.
Yeah, I agree. One notable strength of this proposal is that it provides a tangible and visible improvement. Employees can immediately experience the benefits of a more comfortable working environment. Unlike some wellness programs that rely on the voluntary participation, ergonomic improvement benefit everyone automatically.
That's true. However, I question whether improving the physical environment alone is sufficient. While ergonomic improvements can make employees more comfortable, they do not necessarily reduce workload or long working hours. The employee may still experience stress and burnout despite working in a better environment. Therefore, I think one limitation of this proposal is it focuses more on the symptoms rather than the root causes of the problem.
Yeah, I understand the concerns. However, I would argue that physical comfort should not be underestimated, and research consistently show that physical discomfort can negatively affect one's concentration, mood, and as well as productivity. So I think improving workplace ergonomic may indirectly contribute to better mental well-being as well.
Yeah, I agree with Ziyi said. Nevertheless, I think Yanxia raises an important point. The proposal would likely be more effective if combined with broader organizational policies addressing workload and employee well-being. By itself, it may not fully resolve the issue.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, the group generally agrees that proposal 4 provide valuable improvement to workplace condition, but it may not be comprehensive enough to function as a standalone solution.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yes,
agree.
agree.
Okay, so maybe let's move on to our final proposal, which is the Move Plus workplace system that proposed by the teaching group. So Yanxia, would you like to start first?
Sure. I believe that this proposal is possibly the most innovative proposal presented, as the idea involved tracking employee movement through wearable devices or smartphones and rewarding the physical activity through a point-based incentive system. The employees who achieve movement targets can earn rewards such as vouchers, recognitions, or additional leave. What makes this proposal unique is that it uses behavioral incentives rather than forcing employees to become more active. It encourages participation through positive reinforcement.
Yes, I agree. The proposal successfully demonstrate the creativity and the innovation. The gamification element could potentially increase the employee engagement and make the healthy behavior more enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I recognize those strengths. I have concerns regarding privacy. So the proposal requires employees to share personal activity data. Well, I think some employees may feel uncomfortable being monitored by their employers. So this proposal does not fully address how privacy and data security would be protected.
I share that concern as well. I would also question its long-term sustainability. The employees may be motivated at the beginning because of the rewards and novelty of the system. However, once that initial excitement fades, the participation may start to decline. So while the proposal may encourage short-term behavioral change, it may not be as effective in building long-term healthy habits.
Yeah, that's possible. However, I think we should acknowledge that incentive can be effective when combined with other wellness initiatives. The problem is that the proposal relies heavily on the external motivation rather than internal behavioral change.
That's very valuable observations. Would it be fair to conclude that Proposal 5 is innovative and engaging, but face challenges related to privacy, sustainability, and employee acceptance?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Yes,
I agree.
Okay, thank you all. So now that we have evaluated all of the 5 proposals individually, I would like us to compare them collectively. At this stage, which proposal do each of you consider the strongest? So maybe G can start first.
Personally, I support proposal 2, flexible working hours, as I think among all of the proposal, I believe it offers the best balance between effectiveness and flexibilities. It is relatively inexpensive, practical, and can be implemented quickly. And the most importantly, it gives employees better control over their work-life balance.
I respectfully disagree. Although proposal 2 is practical, I do not believe it addresses the problem comprehensively enough. In my view, proposal 1 is stronger because it targets multiple dimensions of employee well-being simultaneously. It addresses physical health, mental health, workplace culture, and organizational support.
I tend to agree with Jaen, as proposals do certainly have merits, but its impact may be limited. An employee can still experience poor health despite having flexible working hours. I think Proposal 1 offers a more holistic approach.
I understand both of your perspective. However, I still remain concerned about implementation costs. So proposal 1 require counseling service, wellness program, and all those training sessions, which not every organization has the resources to sustain such initiative.
That's true. However, I would argue that employee health should be viewed as an investment rather than an expense. The long-term consequences of the poor employee health can be extremely costly. Reduced productivity, absenteeism, employee turnover, and healthcare expenses may ultimately exceed the cost of implementing the wellness program.
Well, that is a compelling argument. However, I still think flexibility should remain a priority like what we have mentioned in the beginning.
If I may offer a different perspective, I don't think this necessarily has to be an either-or decision. There may be a merit in considering elements of both approaches. As Proposal 1 already incorporates some flexibility through hybrid working arrangements, perhaps the most effective solution would be a combination of Proposal 1 and Proposal 2.
Yeah, this is very interesting suggestion. Could you elaborate more?
Sure. I think the strength of Proposal 1 is that it takes a comprehensive approach by promoting physical health, mental well-being, and healthier workplace practices. And Proposal 2, on the other hand, give employees greater flexibility and control over their work schedules. In my opinion, these two proposals actually complement each other well because one focuses on organizational support while the other focuses on individual autonomy. In addition, selected elements from Proposal 4, such as the ergonomic workstations and wellness areas, could also further improve the employees' daily working experience. Therefore, rather than choosing a single proposal, I believe combining these strengths could create a more balanced and sustainable solution.
Yes, I strongly support that idea. In fact, I think combining proposals 1, 2, and selected elements of 4 addresses most of the weaknesses we identified earlier.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I think the more reasonable that approach seems to be. So I think a combined solutions could potentially deliver greater benefits than an individual proposal.
Thank you for your all productive discussions. So allow me to summarize our findings for today. So proposal 3 was considered effective but financially demanding. Proposal 4 provide meaningful environmental improvement but lack comprehensiveness. And proposal 5 demonstrated innovation but raised concerns regarding privacy and long-term sustainability. So for the proposal 2 was highly practical and beneficial for work-life balance. But proposal 1 emerged as the most comprehensive solutions because it addressed multiple aspects of employees' well-being. Therefore, the group recommends adopting a hybrid model centered on proposal 1, supported by the flexible offer by proposal 2, and selected ergonomic improvement for proposal 4. Does anyone agree with this recommendation?
Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
agree.
fully agree.
Also,
Excellent. So that this decision has been reached unanimously. Before we conclude, let us briefly discuss our action plan. Based on today's discussions, our group will prepare a summary report highlighting the strength and the weakness of all 5 proposals, the reason for rejecting certain proposal as standalone solution, justification for selecting a hybrid model, recommendations for practical information. So is everyone comfortable with the plan?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so wonderful. So I would like to thank everyone for your presence today, thoughtful analysis and professional conduct throughout today's meetings. The discussion demonstrated strong critical thinking among everyone. So if there are no further matters to discuss, I would like to formally adjourn this meeting. So thank you everyone and have a pleasant day.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Chairperson.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye.